We do get a go. Wow. Welcome, everyone, to this not panel about AI. There was something else. We're here to talk about what it is to be a crypto Dutch builder. The challenges, the pitfalls, the positive, I don't know. We're going to do a short round of introductions, and then I just want to sort of freestyle this conversation and really allow this panel to just exchange. Apparently, we might take a few questions at the end if we feel like it. But I'm just going to start by introducing myself. I'm Eleanor. I'm the founder of Crypto Canal, and I run a crypto community here in the Netherlands. And I would say that we are not afraid to be political. And I would let my wonderful guests here today introduce themselves and just tell a few words about what you're doing.
Go.
Hey, David.
OK. Hello. Check, check. We're good. So I'm David, a builder. Been in crypto for a while. Probably since 2014 or something. Was contracting with Coinbase for a while. Then also worked in DeFi with Aave. So I was a fourth engineer at Aave. And then now still building in crypto. And my current product is called x23.ai. And we're focused on building tools to increase participation in DAOs and in crypto.
Thank you.
I'm Roscoe. I'm the founder of Revoke.cash, which is a security-focused platform for crypto. So basically, whenever you're using crypto, you have to give these applications access to your tokens, and we allow you to manage that access and revoke it when you don't need it anymore to keep your money safe. And I've been working on that I started as a side project in 2019 while I was working for other companies in the crypto space. And now since 2022, this has been my full-time job as a crypto Dutch builder.
Ah, you used it. Use the term. No going back. Emmanuel.
Hi. I am Emanuele Francioni. I am the CEO and founder of Dusk. I'm also the CTO of MPEX, which is a security exchange. And I love to collect different kind of titles for which I have absolutely no competence. But somehow I pretend very well. So Dusk is a layer 1, is an open, permissionless protocol. And one thing that I really love, if I can get out of this character building thing that I am doing right now and
sure.
say, and actually say something that is very positive, it's the fact that you said crypto builder, right? Not crypto entrepreneur, because essentially crypto shouldn't really have entrepreneurs, right? We are talking about protocols, and protocols are not organizations that are for profits, and profits are part of entrepreneurship most often than not. So I really like the fact that you are basically talking about crypto builders. We can agree to disagree. You are definitely, you can be wrong. And yes, I'm one of the crypto builders, trying also to be an entrepreneur because I am also the CTO of a for-profit company that is using the crypto protocol as well. And that's me.
Well, first of all, when we create these panels, and I'm herding cats, and I'm trying to give you guys sort of a glimpse into what it is to be a crypto builder, I didn't realize that actually I had put a bit of AI, a bit of security, and a bit of privacy, which are things that are really core to crypto. So I'm really glad that all three could be here today. And I'd like to dive in first into this definition, I guess, of crypto builder, because it's a very abstract concept. Like, we know about crypto, but we rarely see the people that are in the back end or the front end, but who are building products. Would you consider yourself overall a crypto builder, and what does that mean for you to be a crypto builder?
Yeah, I think, like Emmanuel said, I think the term crypto builder is a lot more broad than just entrepreneurs, and I like that. That sort of inclusivity of the term. Anyone can be a builder in the crypto space, whether you have a company or you're just doing something by yourself, you're building protocols, you're building companies. I think all of these things encompass crypto builder, and I think I really like that term. I would definitely consider myself a crypto builder above other terms that I could use to describe myself. So yeah, I think it's a great term to use.
Do you think that there's is maybe in our industry more than in Web 2. Why do you think the word builder is so important? Versus, like you said.
Because there is no product market fit.
Okay.
That's why, I mean, the entirety of Web3 is based essentially on adoption rather than profit. And because it is based on adoption, then it is much more convenient, much better, much simpler to actually have many different people that are building something, either a protocol or an application on top of the protocol, because, again, that is what the adoption looks like. Since it is not about basically making profit, all these crypto organizations, they normally, unless there is a tight product market fit for which essentially somebody is paying something, but until that happens, then you need more and more adoption, more and more people that are essentially adopting the instruments that you are building. So you need to appeal to other builders in order to create application in the hope that somehow these applications are going to be used.
Do you agree on this this aspect, basically, this sort of adoption first and money comes later, or is that something we need to keep in mind?
If money comes.
I'm not sure if I agree with it, but on another point, I was thinking that the term builders, that's like a more mimetic term that was sort of, the culture of crypto was previously very trading, holding focused. And then we came up with this term like building, right? And that was against the traditional trader Bitcoin hodl. And it was like the biddle, right?
Yeah.
So then we had to focus on trying to sway the industry that way. So that's like Ethereum, EVM chains, much more biddle focus, less on the trading focus. So I think that's how I see it. In terms of like crypto Dutch builder, I'm not Dutch, right, firstly. Crypto, I don't know, it's such a loaded term, and it's like I'm not really in it for like the crypto, I'm in it to like add value, like build products, not like just crypto. It's like whatever technology is useful. Crypto isn't really useful in all use cases. So I think maybe people get a bit too hung up on like sort of these nitpicking terms, but yeah.
And what about the for-profit aspect that Emmanuel brought up? Or
what was the question?
Are we building products for more builders, or are we trying to build products for this mainstream adoption to be seen?
Yep.
Or are we trying to build these projects in a more like traditional capitalistic approach of where's the profit, where's the business model, what are the revenue streams that you guys have as builders? I think that's something very interesting to dive into because, again, I think not many people realize how you guys live. We're not just all doing this for funsies, so.
Sure. On the profit motive part, I think it's like any emerging field, like there's a huge time of experimentation, so we've been experimenting for like 10 plus years. So like they're bound to be some people that are profit motivated, others that are more public goods motivated, and others that are building it just for the fun of it. And I think that's okay. That's just the way the industry is built. Luckily for us, crypto is inherently like money, like you can do tokens, then you sort of fund yourself. There's a market. It's the only true market that still exists out there. So there's some interesting threads that we could sort of pull out more in that, but yeah. I think I'm going on different tangents.
No, but it's fine.
Sorry.
I just think if there's no salary, if there's no like big person paying you, these are not 9-to-5 people. You're probably 24/7 type of people. I don't know exactly, but how do you live off of being a crypto builder more than just trading and that? Maybe.
Well, I would say there are 3 different ways, right? So one way is you onboard VCs, so you get a shitload of cash early on in order to create fake tokens that do questionable things, and then you sell those, and you also pocket some of the VC money, but VCs actually dump on retail, and that's how they make their money. This is one of the most profitable business for VCs and big investment institutions. The second one is you actually try to get product market fit. So you try basically to create something that has got utility that is actually a real currency. Now, in order or that has got currency potential features. So one of the currency features, the currency potential, is basically velocity. So the more there is velocity in actually how some kind of asset is traded, the more basically that particular token, if we want to talk about tokens, approaches value or a certain particular definition of value. In order to create this velocity, this token needs to be useful for something. And there aren't really many different fields of application in which essentially these systems are useful. The one that we have found is basically the capability of decentralizing financial market infrastructure. Because financial market infrastructure, they deal with certain specific intermediation that you want to get rid of, while those that use this intermediation, they make money. So that's the second way. This is a much longer way, and normally is, it's not always successful, because again, you need to get product market fit. And the third way is memes. You basically just put a funny hat on a cat, and make a token that is resembling something fluffy and beautiful.
Okay, and Roscoe, maybe you have another way of. Let's cut the memes. Or some people will use that, but
there's a fourth method.
I think besides these methods, there's definitely other methods. And bike.
Not like.
Oh, like, yeah, like. So I think I'm in a pretty good position to talk about that, since I'm building Revoke.cash consciously as a public good. So I don't have a specific profit model built into this product. But I think, as David mentioned before, crypto is inherently money. So everything is inherently financialized. And there are bad things about that. Like, sometimes you don't want it to all be money, but at the same time, that does mean that we have this interesting dynamic where bigger organizations within crypto can fund public goods, can actually make available pretty big pools of money to fund these kind of projects that grow the value of the ecosystem. And because it's also financialized, I think they can still make enough profit individually while also providing funding for those public goods. Whereas in a lot of other ecosystems, public goods funding is a lot more difficult, because there's always, the sort of tragedy of the commons, where no one profits enough individually to kind of fund these kind of projects to help benefit everyone else in the ecosystem. So I think that's one of the really interesting parts of crypto, that there are a lot of people that are interested in finding ways to fund these kind of public goods projects. And I think that's definitely one of the most interesting ways to try to build a project in crypto.
I think versus, in the traditional system where you might depend on the state to step in, and through taxes, here it's sort of like a self-managed industry, and where there's enough funding to go for products that are not just profit-oriented. So I think that's really interesting. I wanted to dive a bit into the fact that we are here in Amsterdam, that we are lucky to be all in person. What does it mean for you to be building here in the Netherlands? We've had, for those who are familiar with the case, Alexei Pertsev, a Tornado Cash developer, was sentenced to 5 years in jail here in the Netherlands. He is appealing this sentence, and he is one of the founders and developers behind Tornado Cash. Has that court case, has that topic at all affected you personally, or as a crypto builder here in the Netherlands?
Yeah, I think it sets a terrible precedent to give these kind of sentences for essentially crypto builders. I think not every crypto builder in the space has as much sort of risk involved to be persecuted like that, but I think it definitely is something that I think a lot of people before this happened were mostly building because they believed in what they were doing. They were, very ideologically driven. And then I know people personally that have stepped away from their projects because this happened, and because also the Tornado Cash case in the US, there's a lot of persecution happening, and I know people that have stepped back from their projects, privacy or otherwise, that I'm sure wouldn't have happened without that. Personally, I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing. I also think I'm personally at a lot less risk because I don't specifically do things with privacy. I think that's something that is at a lot higher risk to be persecuted, but still, I think it is an attack on all of crypto, and I would definitely understand it if people feel less safe building, but I do think that's a shame.
Thank you. You're building a privacy layer 1 here in the Netherlands?
That is correct. So
sorry to stick my finger like that into the topic, but is that something?
It is. Well, for those of the audience that do not know what happened, then Tornado Cash is this anonymizing protocol, and one of the developers of this anonymization protocol has been prosecuted here in the Netherlands. Big case. Interestingly enough, I'm not really sure how many people actually have been reading the sentence of the case. I have, and what has been contested to the guy was not exactly the capability of building the protocol, but to have aided the money laundering and a lot of different kind of illegal financial activities. Now, this obviously, if this happened, then there is merit to the case. But of course, I don't believe that there is a lot of merit to the case. I believe that is actually a pretense in order to, send a message to everybody that is in fact working on a privacy-preserving protocol. Because let's remind everybody that when we are talking about blockchain, we're talking about open DLTs. You can see on the main DLTs, on the main ledgers out there, you can basically see a lot of different kind of transactions, where they are going. And when you are masking some of these transactions, considering that mostly we are talking about decentralized systems, there isn't anyone to blame. It is decentralized. By definition, there isn't a central specific unit that can be blamed. And therefore, when there cannot be blame, there is no accountability. When there is no accountability, government and regulations become very nervous. And therefore, they use that as a pretense to basically send a message to the whole industry. So that's, and as the founder of a protocol that basically tended to strike the right balance between privacy and compliance, of course, what we have seen is that the regulations just became stricter and stricter, right? So to the point in which we had to introduce, in our protocol, we had to introduce certain data in order to be able to, for instance, prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that who is sending a privacy-preserving transaction is in fact
that person.
Yeah, is in fact that person, and so on and so forth.
And that, so basically, by regulating the industry in this manner, it changes the nature of the products. Would you say, David, that with these new regulations, with MiCA and other things, that it's changing how builders are building? Like it's changing their products, basically?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, I think the thing with regulators is regulators will keep regulating and using the knowledge they have. So one of the challenges they have is understanding the technology, right? The same with Tornado Cash and those things. These are very technical products. Even for technical people, it's quite hard to understand sometimes. So having regulators understand that is really difficult, firstly. So essentially, they regulate things that they don't really understand, right? Which is sort of weird. But then the other thing is that regulators maybe haven't caught on to yet is that a lot of builders, not all, but a lot of builders like myself, we're quite transient, right? So the regulations happen, if it doesn't suit a certain product and the person really wants, or the team wants to build that product, they will like just do jurisdictional arbitrage into some other more friendly jurisdiction. And you see that. That's why a lot of companies are based in like Switzerland or I don't know, Cayman Islands, Bahamas. Well, that's why you have all these weird structures, right? Only now with like Trump coming in America, now that the SEC and all those regulators starting to become a lot more crypto friendly, you start to see many more crypto companies coming back to the US, right? So in a sense, I think the things like Mika, they're like, it's like a giant sledgehammer that is useful for some big use cases, but the tiny builders get crushed underneath all that weight. So then they just leave, right? But they're sort of the future of the industry in a way.
I want to just make sure, I guess like as a event organizer with people who, Roscoe, you mentioned people who you know who maybe have stepped out of the industry, or I've also witnessed people like refuse to come to the Netherlands or who are afraid of coming to the Netherlands. And with this court case happening here, this chilling effect is unacceptable, in my opinion. Like as someone who's been advocating for cryptocurrencies and the use of cryptocurrencies, we're shooting ourselves in the foot by basically scaring people off from building here in the Netherlands.
Sure.
And I don't know, we're at a big Web2 conference, and I look at all these, sort of approved subjects, and I want to make sure that we on the fringes can keep innovating and can keep, building for crypto, for better or worse.
I'd also just recognize that Ellie, through Crypto Canal, is one of the main organizers and people that helped push, let the crypto industry know about sort of Alexei, and you helped really push that to the forefront of the consciousness of at least crypto Twitter, I think. So you did a really good job there. And Ethereum
it just really bugged me.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so fucking unjust.
Yep.
And sorry, but like I get very triggered, but I guess it's like this emotion, I think, of, I didn't feel that it was just Alexei on trial. It felt like it could have been any one of you. Because actually, that's what was the scariest part, is that I was sitting there in court, and and I know we're ranting a lot about now this court case, but I think the feeling was that the injustice could have hit any one of us. It was not just the fact that it was privacy, it was not the fact that it was just a mixer, it was the fact that this person had worked and was advocating for crypto. And that's where I was drawing the line.
Sure. They're persecuting the code, written code.
So we'll see. Now that OFAC in the US was reversed, Alexei was released, I have a tiny, I can see some light at the end, and I want to make sure that here on this, at this event, and I thank the organizers for giving us this stage actually to discuss this, but to bring more awareness to it, to just counter the chilling effect that this has had on our industry. We're here to talk about challenges and successes. Maybe you could share why you are so excited still about building in crypto, and maybe one big success that we can, when we look back, we can think, oh, what makes you proud basically about what you're building today, and something you really like about it.
Well, one thing that makes me incredibly proud is the fact that I haven't been deviating from the mission of Dusk since the very beginning. So we started in 2018. The idea was from 2017, and the idea was to make everybody be able to participate in the financial infrastructure of real businesses, right? What does that mean? It means basically that if you are a nobody, you can still lend hardware, you can still lend software. Well, actually, you can run software and contribute to verify and validate actual financial transactions. This is something, for instance, that we have been introducing at the stock exchange, which I also collaborate with, which is MPEX. So now, part of the infrastructure of the stock exchange, this regulated stock exchange, is in fact run by people like me, by people like her, by people like him. Everybody can, in fact, just run a node, a Dusk node, and help validating, verifying, clearing, and settling transaction of actual product. For instance, bond sales, or investment, or trading in equities, in stocks, in facilitating the clearance of digital euros token that, in fact, are exchanged for actual financial products. So this is a huge success because it basically disintermediates the financial market, because so far the only ones that could in fact get paid to clear transactions, to settle transactions, were clearing banks for what concerned the cash lag, and CSD, Central Security Depository, for what concerned the equities. Now, with the new regulation, with MiCA, for instance, it is possible for people like us to actually, when there is a licensed entity that gets the DLT TSS license, again, nobody said that regulations are easy, right? But when these prerequisites are met, then MiCA allows for somebody that is not a financial institution to actually participate in the core infrastructure of the financial market. I mean, this is pretty freaking cool, and this is probably the best success that I ever had and I will ever have in my life.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think for me, it's very rewarding to work on a security product. I see there's hundreds of thousands of people that frequently use the product and that are helped not lose all their money. I know that scams and hacks and all of that is still a huge thing in crypto. I wish it wasn't, but the reality is that it's still a very, very frequent occurrence. And like I said, it's very rewarding to be able to help combat that aspect and see the impact that it's making on real people. And I touched on this before, but I'm also very grateful that I have been able to do this, to offer this as a public good, to be able to build this without having to charge users for anything, without having to put ads on the platform. And I really do think that that would only be possible within crypto due to the things that I touched on before, due to the sort of unique economic incentives that exist within crypto. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be able to build the company in that way.
Thank you. And thank you for keeping everyone safe.
Yeah, revoke.cash. Right? That's a
Revoke.cash.
excellent product. It's very, very useful for everyone. I think the biggest thing for me would be, like for all of us that have been in the industry for more than a few years, is that like we've just survived. Like, I mean, it's talking about like Senator Warren.
We're trying not to scare them.
Like, I mean, but in America, they had the anti-crypto army, like literally like called an anti-crypto army, trying to shut down crypto companies, like persecuting SEC. In Europe, like debanking. I had banks that rejected me for whatever reasons.
We should ask a few banks here, by the way, to accept a few crypto businesses.
True. I mean, they should. I mean, there's some banks that are crypto-friendly.
Yes.
But like just to survive through this environment that was so adversarial, and now we've made it to like $1 trillion+ market cap, where like banks are coming on board, like you say, you become part of financial infrastructure. Yeah. It's like taken more seriously. It became like a US presidential election issue.
In Europe, a meme coin, but yeah, that's fine.
I mean, there's experimentation everywhere, right? And then also, these older institutions or organizations are, starting to try to educate themselves about crypto and blockchain and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's sort of the biggest thing, is that just like being able to survive. Like you can't imagine like if you come from Web 2, like you're a Node.js developer, building whatever you build, and it's like everything's fine. You get bank accounts, you talk about it, no one judges you. It's like you're not a scam, like everything's fine, right? But like as a crypto builder for a few years, firstly you started as like some weirdo anarchist, and then it's like, I don't know, you must be a scam or like some hacker or just like a very dodgy thing. So now we're starting to become more legitimate, which I'm really happy about, proud. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much. I'm tempted to take one question from the audience, because I think...
that guy there has got a question.
Who has a question?
Yeah, you.
That guy? That guy.
That guy.
Do you want to stand up and come to us?
Stand up, that guy.
Or shout. Come on.
Woo!
I applaud, really. What is your question?
I have to think of a question still.
No, go ahead. You're the chosen one. Otherwise, he has a question. Go. Who's the first one? Come on. The first one who goes into the block gets processed. Yes.
So you talk about Web 2 and Web 3, like the traditional developers versus the crypto developers or the builders. So what would be a good starting point for people to move from, let's say, this traditional development to this one? Because this is also, like you said, you start out with some anarchist or some scamming artists or these kind of things, but also legitimate people do want to experiment and try. So what would be your suggestion as a starting point? Like, okay, how should someone start, or yeah, like, where to start?
I have an answer. My answer is too good. I have to place it.
Go to Crypto Canal, yeah.
Yeah. Come to our meetups. I would say like in any place, I have to show my own stuff. No, but you see, come to us after this panel, walk up to us, ask questions, go to meetups, go to your local meetup, wherever you live, you will find crypto people. And I would say that meeting people in real life is where the magic can happen. And that's where really you can be inspired and realize that all of this is possible. And joining events, joining a hackathon, joining a conference, your local meetup, those are all places where you can realize that actually these builders are real, that we care, that we have values, and that it's a wonderful industry to join. So I would like to, unless there's another answer to this gentleman.
Yes. So I have a question for you, actually. What are you interested in? Are you interested in development, in technology? Are you interested in business development? Are you interested in, how would you like to enter? Technology and innovation. So what is interesting for you is technology and innovation. I can repeat what you're saying.
Yeah, just you'll see the moment you come, you will have open arms. People will want to teach you, will want to onboard you, and there's only one thing, is that it's a very open and permissionless environment. So you can just come and show that you're curious, and you will be welcome. That's all I can say by experience, and that's what I've seen over the years.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Yes, but on a more practical level, if you want to start from something concrete, then you need to understand essentially why this space exists. And this space exists, in my humble opinion. My colleagues here might differ in their opinion, and you're welcome to voice your own opinion in case you disagree. But essentially, it is about decentralization, right? So understanding exactly what decentralization means in the field of application that you find the most interesting, because technology and innovation can be applied to practically everything, even to agriculture, right? So, so if you find a mean, or if you understand, if you can imagine a need for decentralization in the field of application that you actually find interesting, then you are probably 85% ahead of everybody else that entered this space. And if you can find a real good motivation to decentralize or disintermediate a process with the benefit of the participants in the process itself, then you are ahead of 99.9% of the different kind of builders.
Agreed.
So the very first step that I would do would be, before even approaching the space, is trying to understand the need for decentralization. If there is no need for decentralization, then crypto or blockchain is actually a hindrance. It's basically a very expensive implementation detail that is going to suck your soul in, and you are going to struggle to find a real motivation to be alive, and you will basically die.
Again, we're trying to not scare these people too much. But let's wrap up. Any last words?
Just, on that question, I'd show Wesley, who's actually a Dutch builder.
Oh, yeah.
He has an open source framework called UseWeb 3. Search for UseWeb 3. It's like a Next.js framework with all the bits built in. try that out, experiment. It's all permissionless, open source, so go for it.
Yeah. David, Roscoe, Emmanuel, thank you so much for agreeing to come to this event, share a little bit of insights from what it is to be a Dutch crypto builder. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. It's a wrap. Thank you so much.